Hello, 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 hello. Good evening. We are back doing the thing. Let's see. Hope everybody is doing all right. Today, we are playing in Malaysia. Let's see. Okay, that feels right to me. Oop. That's live, good. Let's go. Berlin, welcome first. We're not quite in cat territory. What the hell's going on? But I was doing some preliminary searching today. I think it'll be, excuse me, not this episode or the next one, but the one after will most likely be when we're in tiger territory. Wow. Still getting over that. So, yeah, cats soon. Yeah, I am sicky poo. Sorry about that. But I needed to do this and get something going on here, so that's why we're in the hizzy. Second, what up? See, Sean's a good man because he let Berlin come first. What? Who said that? Let's see, throttle's all the way down, governor's on, that's all good. Light off. Hydraulic buses are on, anti-collision light on. Tom was going to have an aneurysm. Yeah, I could see that. Hello, you gonna do anything? Fuel valves are on. Did something change? Am I stupid? Let's see. Throttle's here. Oh, that's stop. That's what it was. Blades are spinning. Tom actually has some kind of real world thing going on today, believe it or not. Well, I don't know what time it's over. I do know that he is actually doing something IRL. Okay, let's see, that's all good. Let's slowly spin this bad boy up. Yeah, dude, that fucking bird video. Holy crap. Yeah, I'm aware my brakes are on. Robert, what's going on? Hope you're all well. Okay, cool. We are good to go. Let's go ahead and throw my tablet up over here. We're gonna kind of favor right there and not be quite as much of a water crossing today. Oh, it's not huge. What's our direct to here? There's nothing here at this point. I'm just gonna have it set up because I wanted to hit the coast. Direct to. Okay, not bad. Hour. Let's see. Parking brake off. Hey. What's up, little Vision Jet? There's our wind coming from kind of ahead of us. Let's turn our little things off here. Okay, whatever the hell this airport is called. This is Helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. Thank you for your hospitality. We are on the ramp looking for a direct west departure. Slowly adding the collective in. Get back in the swing of things, you know. And now let's push into it. We got plenty of power on reserve. I'm just taking it easy. Rather fly like you're heavy than fly like you have nothing. Needs to be like a 280 heading. And we'll just get into it. Let's see. So yeah, I believe it was a Cabri G2 flying kind of over middle of Australia area. They hit a bird. It went through the windshield. Pilot was fine. Or I don't know if both people were pilots. Either way, it struck somebody in the cockpit who was 44 years old. And it killed him, and the other person came and landed the helicopter. So usually when you hear fatal bird strike, you assume that it took whatever got hit down, but this didn't take it down. It just happened to fucking karate chop somebody right in the face and cause enough trauma or whatever. Well, the video was of like a Microsoft Flight Sim recreation of a flight path or something, I guess, just that way they had like video filler, which was a good way to do it, you know, but no, I think the passenger or whoever landed the helicopter was injured, but it killed whoever was the 44-year-old person. I'm pretty sure that's what they said. Also, Cowan Sim, the people who made this particular helicopter model, is releasing the... Let me get rid of the primes, actually. They're releasing the S76 sometime this week. I believe it's already been uploaded to the Flight Sim Marketplace, and they're just doing like validation stuff with it now. But the S76C++ is going to be here in Flight Sim. It was like, birds aren't that big and dangerous, but as soon as you hit one going like 100 miles an hour, it doesn't matter what you're in, it's going to do something. Like, that's just a fact of life. Bird alone, no big deal. Bird at speed, big deal. Which usually they're not really much of a danger to helicopters unless you hit like the pitch links or something. The blades are... I don't want to say that they're sturdy enough to take the hit, but blades can take a little bit of a hit and be okay. Of course, you'd still want to have it inspected afterwards to make sure that it was okay. But usually it's like the pitch links and stuff at the base of the rotor head. We got a little bit of downdraft from the air coming over that hill there. Cool, cool. Also, if anybody's wondering, we are in the 222 Bravo today. A very attractive, simple livery. Chattanooga was great. A busy weekend regardless. Did one of my stunt homies was doing some motorcycle racing on Saturday, so I went there that Saturday morning for him. Another homie had a birthday, so we went out to go eat Saturday night at Medieval Times. Didn't even know that place existed until Friday, because I forgot about the birthday dinner until Friday. Got home, went to sleep, woke up, and drove to Chattanooga. It was only 15 minutes late for the date. But there was some gnarly traffic that I had to avoid. And she also forgot time zone, so it left her a little bit of buffer room as well. Jeez, it made it through a stab. Yeah, dude, birds at speed, they're a fucking thing. Don't underestimate a speedy bird. What do you think the most damaging bird would be? Assuming that you hit them all at the same speed, you think like a vulture with their thick-ass chest plate and stuff would be the biggest oh-no? Or like, let's not even assume same speed. Let's assume that they're doing whatever it is they do with a peregrine falcon, diving at like 200 miles an hour or whatever, and then catching the leading edge of a 200 mile an hour plane, so a 400 mile an hour bird. Would that do more damage than a vulture that's basically stationary? I don't know. I think the vulture would still have more energy. I feel like the peregrine would just like explode upon impact. Dude, being sick sucks. I've had this cough for like 2.5 weeks now. I don't know if I'm blaming it on my friend's kids or the first helicopter instructor that I had for the Discovery flight, because he kind of had a cough during the flight. Don't know who it was, but it stuck around, and I'm sure as shit not going to the doctor for medicine for a fucking cough. I'm just gonna deal with it. Ooh, more wind. There's no ground speed. Lame. Shrug vitamin C, just powdered vitamin C. I'll dry scoop that shit. Yeah, my instructor should be back from his vacation tomorrow, or today. So he's going to start instructing again tomorrow, but he's booked up all week. So I'm actually going up tomorrow at some point when he's in between his sessions to have him sign something off for me, which would be we are Speedy Gonzalez right here. Hello. He's going to sign off or give me an endorsement so I can do my written exam. Typically what happens is they do all the teaching and stuff for you. And then when they feel that you're sufficiently learned, they give you the okay to go do your written exam. But I've been doing all my ground school kind of stuff on my own in my spare time in an effort to save money. So he said bring me 3 90s from the practice test from ASA, and I'll sign your endorsement so you can go do your written exam. So I've been doing practice tests like crazy. Got my 3 90 pluses, which I feel like I could do better, but my school didn't cover some of the things that they were mentioning in it, which I'll go into that more in a bit. So yeah, I worked for a corporate aviation back in the day, and our corporate jet took a bird hit on landing. About 180, took out front of the leading edge. Oh yeah, dude, they're fucking gnarly. Like, I just think straight back to the the Mythbusters episodes where they were shooting the chicken cannon at airplane windshields. That's cool. I can see island way up there. I don't know if that's the islands we're going to. I think we're going to some more that's far out in front of us. Still part of the same chain though, so very cool. And we're already 1/5 of the way there. Or 1/5 of the way to our first checkpoint. Trying to do some form of distance today. That's why we picked a fast retractable gear helicopter for the trip today. But yeah, so he should be giving me my endorsement tomorrow. Got my 3 90s to show him. I was definitely checking my notebook on some of those just to confirm stuff, but it was always like a answer what I believe it is. Check the notebook to confirm if it was something where I just was not sure. Some of them are, I don't want to say they're hard though, because it's like, okay, cool, like do this map thing, and I'm doing this on my phone, and it's like get the heading between here and here. It's like, So I've got to hold my little ruler, my flight plotter, up to my phone. And I've got to measure distances with it, with like a screen that will like zoom in when you touch it with a ruler and stuff, and it's a bit annoying, but it'd get me close enough. Only downside was some of these answers where it's like, cool, what heading do you need for this flight? So you're going, let's just say, straight magnetic north, and it's like 360 degrees or 0 degrees straight up, but maybe off just a little bit. So it's like, okay, cool, am I at 359? Am I at point or at 1 degrees? Because I mean, if you move your plotter just a wee bit, depending on like what side of the measuring point that you're using, like the dot for the center point of the airport, it's like it can give you that slight 1 degree off because of the distances, being like a shorter distance jump or something. And then of course you have to figure out like wind, or it tells you wind speed and ground speed or true airspeed or whatever, so you have to figure out like what direction and everything you need to go. But like the answer would be like, cool, which heading do you get? Is it like 350 degrees, 351 degrees, or 349 degrees? And you're like, my ruler's not accurate enough on a screen that's 5 inches like big to be able to make that measurement. Like, plus like if you're flying 50 miles with that much, like they're gonna set up like a little checkpoint along the way. It's like, okay, cool, like there's a road that I follow, so I'm making sure that I'm here good, or like at certain times, like you can, it's VFR, it's visual flight rules, so like you can make sure that you're in a good spot, you know. Anyway, it's kind of annoying on some of those. I don't want to say it's thankful that the test would repeat questions, but on some of them where they were like that and I'd get it wrong the first time just because my 1 degree difference guess was not as close as theirs. And I would just have to say, okay, cool, like this is just what I'm going to have to remember. Or one where there's a shit ton of writing over the magnetic compass markings around the VOR on the sectional. It's like, cool, I can't get a good reading on this, just once again because of the phone screen and sizes and everything like that. So huge pesky thing to attempt to do that. But yeah, I got my 390s. I definitely need to study up on VOR stuff. Decent on weather. Pretty good on airspaces and stuff too. Because for the most part, it's like, cool, what's your visuals on airspace? It's 3 miles statute miles visibility, 1,000 foot above, 500 foot below, and 2,000 foot to the side. 3152. Some airspaces are 1152. I think it's just one airspace is 1152. Then you have another airspace that's 5111. So 5 miles, 1,000 above, 1,000 below, and a mile to the side. And that's just differences because of altitudes and weird things with how you may be going into one airspace versus the other. So it's like remembering some of those because, of course, the real test isn't going to be the same as all the practice tests. Well, I got used to some of the questions, even if it was like a weight and balance thing where I remembered what the answer would have been, because I had done that question before. I made sure to like rework out the solutions and everything again. Also, it would throw in some airplane questions and gyroplane questions and stuff as well, which haven't touched on that in any of my flight schooling stuff. But that's because apparently once you take your written exam for private, that's good for all of your privates. So if I wanted to go fixed wing later, it would just be a matter of getting my fixed wing hours and then doing the oral and the actual practical flight exam. So that's why they kind of put airplanes and gyros in it. And I would assume that means there's also a little bit of helicopter in the private fixed wing rating as well. Either way, not too bad. Even where I wasn't like coming back and rechecking questions, I was still making like mid-80s on everything earlier this week or last week, back when I was not busy every day. But it was like the questions I was missing was all stuff that I had not touched in my flight school or had even thought about also. Like, okay, cool, if you have to go against ATC communications because of an emergency, how long do you have to report it? Immediately, 24 hours, 48 hours, a week. With a crash, if you crash, it has to be reported immediately, or as immediately as like practically possible. Obviously, like you're not smashing the ground and calling them first. It's like, cool, take care of yourself and make sure you're good, and then make sure the FAA is contacted. But more or less immediately. If you have to disobey ATC for some sort of reason, it's 48 hours if requested. Then also for like drug testing and stuff, it's like, when do you submit for a drug test? You would think whenever somebody from the Department of Transportation contacts you, or somebody that's like aviation related. But really, anybody like local, state, federal level, law enforcement, whatever, can drug test you, and you have to submit to it because of it. Or like questions about timing with different FAA medical certificates, like how long is a Class 2 med certificate good for if you're flying commercially or if you're flying private, and they're all basic stuff. It's not super relevant to flying, which is kind of where my brain has been the past, months, years. But it's stuff that's apparently asked during the exam, so gotta figure that out. Weather and stuff too, like the different types of fog, where are you most likely to pick up icing? That's like, cool, most helicopters except for a few, which you have to be type certified for the most part, I believe. It's like you're not supposed to fly in known icing conditions. Easy, so it's not something I need to worry about. If icing's a thing, no go, sorry, not flying. No visible moisture, nothing below freezing. But I have to know about icing on wings and clear ice and rime ice and cool, what fog is most likely to happen on a cool, clear night near the coast. Like, okay, cool, that's advection fog because it's warmer air from over the water coming in over the cooler ground and condensating. So it's a whole bunch of weird questions that you don't think are completely necessary. But it all feeds into flying in one way, shape, or another. So, gotta learn it. Got pages and pages of notebook. So as soon as I get the test date set, I'm literally going to be taking the same practice test every day. multiple times. I'll be reading through my book multiple times a day, going over the sections in my ground school multiple times for the stuff that I'm not comfortable with, like aerodynamics and maneuvers and stuff I'm pretty comfortable with, but stuff like some navigation type stuff and whatever I'll look into. And then I'll also be watching YouTube videos and like more navigation stuff like VOR things. The stuff that's not super normal for helicoptering. Still something that's a thing, but not something that's like normal, You feel? Either way, but school's going good. Wish I could get some more time in this week, but he is very busy. Like every single day, like I couldn't even get like an hour in on any of the days starting this week. I think he has like 3 or 4 people booked every day that he's flying. So good for him actually getting some good time in. I know instructors, they are criminally underpaid, and if you don't have people flying, you're not making money. So I also officially applied for my student pilot's license today. Which means that once I take my written, and as soon as I hit my necessary hours and competency levels that they see fit, then I can start doing solo flights. And I don't want to say I want to get this all done as quick as I can, but that's a big thing. I would love to get this done as quick as I can. But they said that their DPE, their designated pilot examiner, only comes down here once every month or two. I don't know when his next time coming down is, but I want to be ready for that. And I don't want to say jam as many hours as I can until that, but I want to get my 40, and I want to get my check rides in for them to say yay or nay, you're ready or not. Yeah, grind and push. That's all you can do. So how's everybody doing? Scott, Sean, Berlin, GPS, what's going on? Robert, you're still in here. How you doing, bud? Sorry I haven't been on much. It's just been busy. I was hoping to do more of this while he was on vacation, but it looks like I'm going to have some time this week too, so it may be good for me to come on here and stream this week after studying all day, just that way I can regurgitate information and solidify that. Who invented water crossings? I don't know what the hell they were doing. Oh, also Tawogs Hangar, whatever it's, or however it's pronounced. They released their OH6, or the MD500C. For download, that's $32. Then Cow & Sim is their S76 coming out, which I assume is also going to be around that excuse me, in that $32, $35-ish range. Oh, that sucks. We got enough altitude where the waves on the way down there. So I don't know if I want to get both of those, but eventually we'll be adding both of those to the collection, just not yet. I know Tawogs is supposed to be pretty good with their flight models, so I'm excited to see that. You're starting 6 workouts a week this week. Belinda is happily cuddling the cats. Hell yeah. Yeah, we should just make a long stretch of land. Like a land bridge. Be so much easier. Well, there used to be a thing where if you were to do like look for directions for like Los Angeles to Tokyo or something, on Google Maps, it would tell you to like go to the Pacific Ocean and then swim to Japan. And then it would give you like the street directions to go from like downtown Los Angeles to the beach, swim, and then the walking directions to get up to whatever middle of Tokyo is. But just swim. Just a manual water crossing, you know? So this doesn't even feel like we're moving. I know we are, because I have instruments, but it just doesn't feel like movement. Excuse me. So about 6 workouts a week. Are you focusing on anything specifically, or are you trying to grow more now? Are you bulking, cutting? You got a specific program you're attempting to do? I know I have been off the past couple of weeks with this cough. I haven't had as much energy as I usually do. But I did do chest today. I didn't do triceps, just did chest. Had to do something, you know. Can't just sit around, feel myself withering away. But also I can't take too much time off because then I start getting fucking fat. And that costs me extra money. Having to fly an R-44 if I go up in weight. So I'm staying under 185 for training. I don't know if I'm just subconsciously steering to that mountain over there. We could have more of a left heading, but... more west. Just like seeing what I'm aiming at, you know? I know my cardio is shot. I go out to run around with Dino some and I'm just winded. I have got to do more. As soon as my lungs are feeling back up to some level of normalcy, I will be actively doing some more cardio stuff. One, I've got a little bit of a belly that or a little bit of like handles on the side that I'm developing. Don't care for it too much. I've always been a slim guy. But I want my mass to be in the muscles. I don't want it in something else. Well, I do want it in something else, which is not my love handles. So, I feel I can start to see mountain shape through the clouds up there. Or through the haze. Okay, adios. Get some sleep, you two. In 2 streams, we'll be... 10K steps, 10K running steps. I already do a lot of steps. I need cardio. 100 miles left. Airspeed 140, ground speed, who knows? I wonder if I can do... Do I have an avionics switch now? Nope. Hey, wait a second. We may have a big screen here now. Maybe I'll have some... Hell yeah, we may get ground speed out of this. Oof, ground speed horrible. Oh no, we're actually going slow airspeed. Okay, cool. So let's square up on this bitch. Oh, we got about a 10 knot tailwind here. Happy with that. pointing in generally the right direction. We're just aiming for this big coast up here, a few islands away. Not those islands, sadly. I really do think this is our last sizable water crossing. We have a few more little jumps going up this chain to go island to island, obviously. But I think this is our last big water crossing. Next big one will be crossing over to the UAE from like Afghanistan, Iran-y type area. And then it'll be the Mediterranean, going from either Benghazi or the pyramid areas up to Greece or Italy, then jumping up to Italy if we go to Greece first. But whatever the Mediterranean stuff is. But this will be our last bigger water crossing for today. Okay, dude, adios. See you when you get back. We'll just be here. Burying the needle speed-wise, V&E means nothing. Until I get retreating edge blade stall, then it means everything. But for now, we'll work our way back down to a reasonable 150. 150 true. Just the blue expanse down there. Gross. But for anybody still watching, I'll just be quietly here grinding away this water crossing. I'll check messages every few minutes, but figure I'll just kind of keep it quiet for a bit and enjoy the flight, you know? See the water yet? Nope. Don't like that. Wookie Smoke, what's going on? Good evening. We're just kind of doing the water thing right now, which we could do a much more water thing that way, but I wanted to kind of cut the angle a little bit to work up to this island up here, but yeah, this little boring section out here jumping Malaysia. Then once we hit up here, we should be more or less over land with the exception of a couple of little island to island hops, but yeah, still getting over a little sick, but you know, just got the new 500C. I was just talking about that a few minutes ago. Do you have the Cowan Sim MD500 that they do? And if so, how does it compare? Which I think the Cowan's the 500E. Which we'll do the OH6 500C eventually, either way. Taug's way better. That's what I was thinking. Nothing against Cowan, they put a lot of work. It's obviously not an easy thing to build a model. And I know Taug's is pretty, I don't want to say strict or stringent, I don't know what the right word would be, but they're pretty picky and particular about their flight models. So just like I know Cowan does a good job on their Bell 206, but the fly-inside 206 is a lot better. I need to work on that in 2024. There's some weird mapping issues that happen with it, where I've looked into what it would take to fix it. I see it, I say, cool, this is what I need to do to fix it, and then I don't get on the game again until we're doing one of these. And I'm obviously not going to try to fix it in stream when I already have a 206 B3 and a 206 L3 that work. And for straight and level flight, you know, it's not like I'm really missing out on the flight dynamics of something unless I'm using it for more stuff that's dynamic flight. Yeah, that's what their Huey's like for Taug. You get a Civ, you get the military, and you get a high skid version as well. But I think the high skid meshes into one of them, into the civilian one here in 2024. In 2020 it gave you 3, but here in 2024 I think it just gives you 2, but kind of adds the high skid in where it needs to be added in. But yeah, I've heard good stuff about it. Their Discord seems to be pretty happy with it as well. And I knew they wouldn't put out crap. Which also, like, another thing like them, and like Fly Inside, like, you can damage the helicopters by starting them up the wrong way. I know that was the thing with Fly Inside, where if you weren't doing the exact right throttle manipulations on startup for the Bell 206, you would hot start it. And I know that you would hot start the Huey too from Tao, so I just figured that out recently, because I could just get it going and whatever by spawning in with it running. But I mean, you have to get it running and get the rotors up to speed with like the absolute smallest amounts of throttle input that you can like imagine doing. It was like a 1 minute run-up process once the engine was started and warmed up on the Huey /212 UH1 whatever to get it to where it would like start and not like start overheating everything and lock up and make me have to auto. OH6 is low skid. And the H500 high skid, I don't think it's OH6 was just like military designation, so I don't know if there's different instruments and stuff like that were included. I don't think the skids were the actual designation change. Skids are kind of like an optional permission thing. I feel like it's like a default thing, like, cool, you buy an MD500 and it comes with low skids. But you can option it for high skids, you know, just like getting leather interior or whatever. But 500C, civilian des, OH was the military designation. Now, there was a difference between the two where the civilians got the high skids, the mil didn't. That's news to me, but I don't think it was like that. Somebody that's more MD would have to let me know, but I think it's literally just that the OH6 is just military designation, just like the UH-72 Lakota is literally just H-145C2. It's just cool. They want to give it a military name. The Bell 212 is a Huey. But it's all same-ish, give or take, you know, it's like nearest makes no difference. It's kind of just like a bragging right thing, just like when you see the OH-58. It's just a Bell 206. I think it's a B. I don't even think they do Bell 206Ls for military training because there's no purpose. Like, okay, cool, you're putting a pilot and an instructor in it and then letting the pilot go train solo afterwards. Like, it's just a Bell 206B, 2B, 3B3, depending on whatever year. That's the OH-58. The Sig Sawyer M17, guess what? It's a Sig P320. They just wanted their own special fucking names for it. I mean, hell, even a lot of the, excuse me, like Boeing airplanes and stuff that they use. Not so much like the C-130s or whatever. Like, sometimes they have, like, some military 707s, 717s, and whatever else. And that's just, they give them their own designation. Because a lot of times military contracts... Sorry about the wiggling, I'm fixing my mask. A lot of times the military contracts won't allow for purchase of civilian equipment. So they literally just change the name on it. I know a lot of suppressor manufacturers that do that. Like, cool, we can't sell a civilian suppressor to the military, so instead of it being the the Spectre's cat WB suppressor. It's the Alley Cat or something like that. I think White Bread and Alley Cat are like the same thing. I think the Alley Cat's like same internal geometry. They just put like a 1/4 millimeter thicker wall on the outside just to have the mill people be like, okay, cool, this is the military only version. Oh yeah, New Zealand flights are pretty fun. We're not going to do it for this series, obviously, because we were already past that point. And it's not exactly necessary for the around the world, which, to be fair, Australia wasn't necessary for the around the world. But with one of our loyal viewers from Australia, you know, it's nice for us to go down there. But yeah, I've done some New Zealand diddling around, and it's a cool place. Some areas are better by helicopter, but it's also nice to like hop in the Pilatus PC-12 or something and zip around the island and get to take more of it in quicker. To get more of an experience. Because like, yeah, sure, you can spend 10 hours like going around and booping around everywhere, but to a point, going over the same mountain over and over and over again does get boring. Just like water crossings get boring. Oh yeah, New Zealand's completely different. Just like if you go to like Southeast Australia, like you wouldn't expect the mountain ranges and stuff. Like I don't know if you've done the career mode stuff, but I think it's the I don't know if it's one of the hoisting missions or anyway, it's one of the rescue missions that they first start you out in or something. It's down in Australia, and you do some fucking elevation changes to get up to where this dude's stranded at. Hello, grid lines. Hey, I can see waves again. Thank you. Grids are kind of annoying, but whatever. I'd rather be down here seeing the waves. Of course, that's partially because I dropped down to 600 feet, but I can see land now. I'm happy being closer to the water. I can judge my elevation easier. Can't wait to be over land. I think we got like 2 little water crossings today past this one because we're island hopping. But we're purposefully staying over land for the most part. Instead of just straight lining, which we could have done, I wanted to actually fly some. I'm about half through the career, I guess, but I'm not going to do the big jetliner stuff. Yeah, I went and certified everything, so if you look at my career mode stuff, I've got everything unlocked, except for the ultra heavies, because I don't think that's available yet, and not the powered lift stuff, like the drone things, because they weren't available when I was doing it. But I've got everything else. Not that I want to go do the big jet flights or anything. I just wanted them unlocked. And there were also like some weird things where it's like some missions won't unlock for you if you don't have like night flying and IFR stuff, which you can only do on the airplane side. And I think like multi-engine or something like. Anyway, there's some things that like didn't play right if you didn't do the fixed wing side, which was super annoying. I made a whole fucking mess about that in in the forums back when this first came out. I was like, hey, I only care about helicopter stuff. I despise having to fly hours of airplane things to get money to do helicopter stuff, and then all the helicopter stuff pays way less. To where it's like, cool, like 2 or 3 levels in, you can do you can get yourself a, let's just say a Vision Jet or a PC-12 or some sort of thing. And it's not that hard to start, like, banging out missions. But, like, let's just say for the, which they did end up fixing the pay scale. But, like, it was almost like how long the mission took time-wise was how they paid you. Or how long the mission was supposed to take. Or whatever, it was how they paid you. So, you like both sides about 50-50? Like, fixed wing's cool, but, like, personally I just don't have much interest in it. But yeah, on the career mode, it was like, cool, you could get in a $1 million or $2 million airplane. Like, let's just say the PC-12, you got a used one for $2 mil or whatever. And you could do a 2.5-3 hour flight and earn like $300,000 or something like that. It's like you could pretty effectively grind away doing things. But if you were to do a external load mission with a helicopter, which also costs $2 million, you know, buying a 125, then it takes like 3 minutes to do the mission. Like, the longest part of the mission is like waiting for the rotor speed to cool down before you pull the brakes on it. And then it pays you like $5,000. It was like a ridiculous low amount of money. So it just didn't make sense to do helicopter career mode to try to earn anything. So, like, I was doing the fixed wing stuff. Sorry for all the wiggling, guys. I'm trying to get comfortable here. Mostly just fly the vintage stuff, yeah. Which 99% of my play is all free flight, like here doing this. Sometimes when I want to, I'll hop on career mode. But I'm not... I was grinding it pretty hard when it first came out, just because I wanted to have all the things unlocked and to do the long line missions and the external load stuff and the hoist missions, because those are hard. You know, if it's done the right way, it's a challenging thing. But they made it with such little, like, foresight that it either sucks to do, or you have to kind of cheat it to make it worth it. Like the hoist search and rescue over the water. Looks cool as shit. But then you go out there, you see the boat that's on fire, and you go, okay, cool, that's where you want to fly. But no, it's somebody in a life raft that's fucking like 5 miles away from it in the middle of the water. Okay, yeah, like they wouldn't try to stay somewhere near the boat. Then when you get down to hover over them, your dudes in the back, you know, your SAR techs, they don't give you anything. Your hoist operator doesn't tell you forward, backward, up, down, left, right. When your swimmer hits the water, let's say it's a 30-foot hoist, and your swimmer hits, then you're hovering at 20 feet over the water. When your swimmer hits the water, if you're 3, 4, 5 feet away from the life raft, you have to drag the swimmer through the water. So you get to like pick up that 30 feet, extra 10 feet of tension by dragging them in that direction. And then if you go up an inch, You know, that pulls more tension. It pulls them off the life raft so they're not there long enough to hook up to the survivor. And they're not telling you up, down, left, right, or anything. There's no orange Jeep, what's going on? Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to go in a third person. I got the fucking sim so I could fly like this. I got it so I could be... I hate to be a fucking little nerd about it, but like, I did this to be as immersed as possible. Like, that was the purpose. You know? I didn't get this thing to fly around like this. You know? Like, cool, it's neat, I can see my helicopter, cool, I'm actually trying to fly a bit more practically, or whatever, you know? This doesn't do, like, sure, I like the sounds, don't get me wrong. But this is what I want to do here. You know, I want to fly the aircraft. Yeah, going in a third person to do that, it was like, don't design something where I have to be in third person. And for the hoisting, or not hoisting, yeah, for some of the search and rescue things, it's like, you can't land next to them. Like the first mission was something that everybody complained about. Because you basically had to like land in trees. You couldn't land near the person, and if you did, you had to like figure out what trees didn't have a hitbox. So that way you could lower yourself down into the woods with your blades impacting everything. And then as soon as it's going through the cutscene, if you're not in VR, there's a cutscene. But when you're in VR, there's still a cutscene, but it freezes all your controls and makes your helicopter like lean super far back and be all fucking weird and everything. And it will make you crash. And it's ridiculous. And then doing that too, that was when the in-ground effect, out-of-ground effect, pinnacle landing aerodynamic glitch was happening. So that was a huge pain. They fixed that glitch, so it made it slightly more bearable, but it was still a huge pain in the ass. And then even looking like external load stuff. Like very rarely are you doing external load things with a 30-foot cord. Usually, it's like a 100 or 200-foot cord or something like that. Because with a 30-foot cord, you really can't see down to what you're doing. It's very hard. So again, third person's kind of the only way to do it. I've learned how close I need to fly or put my nose towards like the big vertical bits of the oil rigs. But doing like the stuff over trees and forests and stuff, it's almost useless, especially in the Chinook. Like, sure, yeah, I want to lift like a bigger load, and then I get the Chinook, so I go to do a Chinook mission on an oil platform. It's like a 400-pound load. Like, sorry, I could have done this in the A-Star. Give me something heavy. Fucking noodle helicopter. Where, when you're putting the nose where it needs to be to put your thing down in the middle of the circle, which isn't in the middle of the helipad, it's close to the edge, near the stairs, like towards the oil platform itself, like, your nose is over the water, you don't have any sort of reference where you are. You have to, like, fly right side reference, because you can't really look down either. Because nobody's giving you any information. If it was a taller rope, then yeah, you could fly and be over the stacks. But no, you can't. And then, also, when we're talking about big helicopter, the Sky Crane, the S-64F, I think. Once again, they do like the only missions or something like that. You don't know. It doesn't tell you what the height is. To be clear, it doesn't tell you that the base is already 70 foot tall. There's nothing in the pre-mission briefing. It doesn't tell you how tall the piece that you're putting on it is. So if you have a 70-foot base with a 70-foot upper section, plus a 30-foot thing, you need 170 feet of radar altimeter over the ground to put your base where it needs to be. But then again, that's also a long helicopter, to where once you're over the front, you really don't have any sort of reference of where you need to be. Typically, you have somebody riding in the back, telling you forward, backward, up, down, whatever, you know. Or, you know, you could do this thing right here, but they do it with the cord, with the line so short that it becomes super impractical to see what you're doing, and it's just fucking annoying. And it's been out for what, fucking 10 months now? I haven't done any of those missions in a few months. Maybe they fixed it, who knows? But it seems like there was just super, super little oversight about that from at least people who were interested in playing helicopter stuff for the realism. It's like they found people that wanted to, like, try to do that stuff like this. And then they said, okay, cool, like, we can do that. And so, yeah, but no, I don't want to do that. I want to do it in VR. I want to have call-outs. I want intelligent search and rescue swimmers. I want intelligent co-pilots. And ground crew. And whoever's going to be on the radio telling me yes, no, up, down, forward, backward, whatever. Or the ability to choose how long my cord is. Especially for like the sky crane missions. Or for the big heavy lift helicopters, you know. Like, I can kind of deal with it with the 125, but if you're going to do it for the other ones, do it for that as well. But it's super annoying, because like there's so much promise in it. It wouldn't take a lot of programming. It wouldn't. You know, like if you have the hype performance groups, 145 and 160, or at least for the 145, how they have the missions that you can do with it, with their own independent mission career system in their EFB. Like, that's nice, because it gives you like a little crosshair for how you are while you're hovering, doing the whatever, you know, doing the hoisting missions and stuff, which is super nice. Like, that's exactly what I want, you know. Like, if you don't want to give me shitty same AI voices and talking that I hear every single mission, which I'd rather just not hear talking at all, you know. If you're just going to give me the same fucking thing over and over again. I'd rather have the crosshair there so that way I can see where I'm at. But then again, airplanes are kind of like the golden child of the flight sim world, so you know, what do we expect? Fuck me for spending hundreds of dollars on thousands of dollars building the PC, getting the game in VR, the sim controls and everything from Apache Simulator, you know, like, fuck me, you know? I don't want to say that Microsoft H1B'd a whole bunch of Indian programmers and stuff to test this, but it really does feel like it, you know, like there were so many misspelled words, like even starting out on like the most simple thing, whereas like it was obvious they didn't even test or look at like anything. Like, cool, it's together, it's working, and like controls work, left is left, right is right, you know. Ah, yes. Another mountain. Yeah, dude, especially like, I'm not gonna say I can get over them for the more advanced career missions, because like part of me is like, okay, cool, at least now that I own the helicopters, I'm making money. Like, cool, I've got my fleet of the H125s. So they're all around the world doing the lifting stuff. Then I have one that stays no crews. That way I can do my lifting stuff on the oil rigs. Just because there's a place south of Louisiana where there's like 7 or 8 rigs right next to each other. So I don't spend a lot in transfer fees or anything. You can just kind of like hop in and do it. But with that said, getting to that point, having to do hundreds of flight sim trips, or hundreds of the like point A to point B, delivering somebody to an airport trip in like a Capri G2 or something fucking ridiculous like that. Oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Oh my. What a wonderful discovery. I want to fly over Bill's Tires. Like, come on. Absolutely ridiculous. And then the R66 Robinson and the Bell 407, you couldn't even start for a bit. Like, they were broken. 407 you couldn't start. I think the 66 may have been something with my peripherals where I had to do something different. But the 407 you couldn't fucking start unless you just started with the engine already running. Like, how do you release a game where, and this wasn't a helicopter that they just added, like the 407 was a factory helicopter, stock optioned helicopter in 2020. So this was a model and stuff that they already had working. And they didn't have it working when it started. Yeah, Microsoft dropped the ball hard. Like I said, I think it was like H-1B visa stuff, or either outsourcing to somewhere like India to try to get cheaper programmers and stuff looking and fixing things. Because it's obvious that the people that were putting time and effort into testing and development of different aspects don't care, or didn't care. Hey, getting some clouds up here. Let's see, where are we going? $100 miles. Yeah, just super annoying. Like, come on. All of it. Just pesky. Let's see. What do you think, Chad? Am I going to Kobe myself into the mountains here? Got some very slight IMC conditions up ahead. We will see. If it seems like it's too much, we'll just throw some altitude at it. Okay, the AI at the airports will walk and drive right in front of you. For a lot of the stuff, they were initially dinging points for your reputation and stuff on helicopters when you wouldn't. Let's say you're going to go do a rescue mission. You're taking off from an airport in the 125. So you, a little airport right there. We're filling up with the next one. So like you would go take off and it's like, cool, taxi this way, go to the other end of the runway because it's like a one taxiway airport where you have to go in then back taxi and go up to like your initial climb and your departure, your crosswind and your downwind and departure and like all this stuff, and it's like I'm a helicopter. I take off from the ramp. Like I can understand doing stuff correctly with the wind. Guess what? I hover, I rotate, I go. Now you have like a smaller underpowered helicopter or you're heavy, and typically you would use the runway so you can have a little bit of a run up and that little bit of space, you know, to get your speed up and to get into like effective ETL. But for the most part, like, cool, taking off with like one SAR tech and one medic or whatever in the 125 to go pick up one person. Cool, easy peasy. Pick right up, no big deal. Full tank of gas, plenty of power. No. Very annoying, but whatever. It's all that's all past now, you know. I'm glad that helicopters are at least supported. That's annoying. Paid for a product. Product's not what I wanted. Not what was promised. Still not what it was promised. Boy, they have me like straight fucking Stockholm Syndrome. Oh, I hate to think, but I'm so thankful. Whoa. Listen to me, you fucking pussy. We just be a climbing a here. This honestly looks like it's a volcano. I assume it's not active anymore, else I can't imagine how dumb you'd have to be to live up here. Ooh. Man, Tom really just did abandon us, didn't he? We leave Australia, then he just dips out. Go check the Discord later. He's no longer a member, and he's unfollowed Multi-Shot Matt on all the profiles. That'd be funny. Who's the bigwig in charge of these programmers and designers? Who knows? I don't know what studio it is, because I know it's not just Microsoft doing everything. I know they outsource a lot of the different studio work to different people and different game designing companies, you know, like I watched a whole video kind of about that a while back, talking about how Microsoft went through all the effort to make the whole world available instead of just like certain areas to fly in, where they're like, cool, we're going to give you the whole planet and not just a flat 2D planet, like geography and buildings and roads. And so I think that in itself is Asobo. Either that or Asobo was the company who made the algorithm that makes it possible to do the entire world. That might be it. I don't remember exactly. But something along those lines. But then some of these helicopter models itself were developed by the people who were selling them third party in the previous one, in 2020. And Microsoft bought the rights or hired them to make different helicopters or models for excuse me, the stock or the included stuff or the optioned up stuff for 2024 here. But then, like, who did the testing? Or it's also like, I mean, the ones that other people made were the ones that worked really, really well. You know, all the third-party studios, but all the ones that seem to come directly from Microsoft, like the 407. Kind of shit, you know? Like, I'm not here to claim to be a helicopter dynamic expert because I've got a few hours in a Robinson working towards my license right now. But all the third-party helicopters seem to be more lifelike-ish than the ones from Microsoft. So, you know, take that as you will. Hello, cloud. Can we just grab the end of you? Do we have enough ass to do it? Hey, a little bit of cloud. And we shall not mast bump at 222. That would be boring. Or that'd be exciting. Suboptimal. Hey, nice that the cloud's cleared up, though. I can throw some speed at this. I'm heading generally this direction here. 260-ish. Airspeed 140, ground speed 158, 20 knot tailwind, I'll take it. Easy cruising too, only 80% torque, and we're doing 150 airspeed. Beautiful. .84 nautical miles, 271 degrees. I think the wind's slightly from our left, though, so I'm kind of crabbing a bit. Excuse me. See some other people hopping in here. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Currently over Malaysia in a Bell 222 Bravo. Heading west. Could have done a big water crossing, but I don't like flying over the water. It's boring real quick, so we kind of cut a little bit north. We're enjoying some mountains. Woo, airspeed be damned, holy shit. Stop paying attention for a second for a little caffeine hit at 11 o'clock at night. Sure, I'll be fine. No big deal. And we start zooming. Cool. Looks like the instructor's got my flight set up for Saturday. Fun. I wonder if anybody's renting the 44 at that time. Doesn't look like it. May be able to stick it up. I'll ask him tomorrow. I have a friend that wants to ride along in one of my training flights. Which obviously he can't do that in the 22 because it has to be me and the instructor, and even when I'm soloing I cannot take any passengers until I'm fully licensed. But in the 44, I can have somebody ride along in a training flight as long as the instructor is with me. And one of my friends said he would pay the difference up to whatever that would be. I think it's like $200 or something more. 200, 210, something like that to ride along. But we'll see. I'll text him in the morning. He might still be up. Nah, he's asleep now. Ooh, boys. If y'all are unaware, I'm a Toyota enthusiast. Looks like they just unwrapped the Toyota concept car. Oh. They used AI to unwrap it. That looks good. Let's see. Looks like it gets a little bit flatter up here once we get through this little bit of mountains, or either that or the mountains just get drier. One or the other. Also looks like we had some storms kind of on the south side of the island over there, so we're staying on the north side. Another reason for that, I saw those kind of developing. It's funny, I was adjusting that. I had no idea how to set it. Is it rude flying like a hyper luxury retractable gear helicopter over, like, I don't want to say Malaysia's a poor country, but it's not a super extremely developed country in these outer reaches of it. It's not as bad as Indonesia was over in that, the Papua New Guinea area. It's definitely better over here. Malaysia's got, like, Lombock's a super high luxury vacation type spot. Yeah, it does get flatter over here. Thank you. Yep, definitely picked a longer flight today, but wanted to make up for some time. Been busy with real flight lessons, busy with life, feeling sick and coughing. I don't like coughing in your guys' ears. But I'll make a few allowable ones for days like today where I'm feeling good enough to fly. Besides, we gotta make progress. Cannot stop. The journey must be completed. Which I don't want to say that I'm looking forward to it being over, but it'll be really, really fun for me. Like a very exciting moment getting back into North America. Which we could do it, I don't want to say in a few days, if we wanted to. But realistically, two and a half weeks, doing the 3 to 4 hours a night, we could be back in North America. Straight lining, not really checking or doing anything, just as much of a beeline as we could, you know. But there's places I want to see, things I want to do, so that adds a few days here and there. Like I said, I want to see the pyramids. But would like to see Benghazi, just for the LOLs and the references. But it would be easier to go up through Turkey, over the Med. Could just go straight through Europe. It would only take one day, really. But want to kind of bounce around. There's a handful of things I want to check out and see. So that kind of sucks up a couple of days of zigzagging. Which I'm okay with. You know, we went to Australia and added 2.5 weeks onto the journey. This was going to be like a 100 episode series, but it's going to end up being like a 130 episode series. If not more, because also I do plan on... We started here in Georgia, my home state, my home airport. But... excuse me. I want to skip Georgia as we come back down the East Coast. Go down to Florida, hit the Keys, get through the Keys, and do the islands, Bahamas, Trinidad, Tobago, St. Martin's, all the stuff down there. And then hit South America, so that way we hit all the real continents, you know, with the exception of Antarctica. But really just barely touching South America just for really a day. And then we'll be coming back up through Central America, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, that sort of Panama Canal area. Then back up through Texas and such. But, so that's going to add a week to 10 days onto the trip. But I think that'll be worth it just to say that since we did Australia, if we didn't do Australia, then we'd just be going for more or less the best path around. But since we did Australia, we're not exactly chasing the best path around anymore. We're kind of still have our goal in sight, but we're just enjoying more of the journey now. Hey, a little elevated lake. Very cool. There we go. That one felt like it cleared it up a little bit. We'll hope so. Let's see, where's my mouse at? Here it is. 52 miles from our fuel stop. And from our fuel stop. Jeez, what the fuck was I thinking today? Holy shit, Matt. Ugh. That's kind of attractive there. Lombock's fucking far. And I'm in a fast helicopter, but that's a fucking trip. We'll see. We'll see how many miles it is from fuel stop to Lombock, and then I'll make up my mind there, because I am still trying to keep somewhat of a decent sleep schedule. As you can see, my subs are only around 840, so I'm not making any money on the streams. So this is not paying bills, so it's not... If it was paying me to stay up late, then I'd stay up late to do more, but I am still trying to keep somewhat of a bedtime. Also, that just kind of goes to show poor pre-flight planning on my part. I kind of just look at what the range of the helicopter is and then add some. But I think I added a wee bit too much there on the backside just because I'm familiar with Lombock. So I thought that was I don't want to say familiar place, but familiar by name. Sorry about the wiggles, fixing my mask and seating position. Also, there's 6 or 7 people in here now. If you're not one of our regulars, or even if you are, feel free to say hey. If you got any questions about my my setup, my motives, whatever, feel free to ask, because that just keeps the conversation going. Because if not, I'll end up just sitting here quietly for a bit, like I was doing over the water before Wookie Smoke showed up. Got a little bit fast there, but that's okay. Looks like my radar altimeter set at a 200-foot decision height. Man, that's low. Still a 15-knot tailwind even down here. Not bad. I can chooch up a little bit. Not going to say I wish I was in the 206L because it's not this fast. But it is kind of nice because I can really just push the cyclic all the way forward on it. And it just kind of eats it, and this here I'm still kind of floating it somewhat in the middle. It's a very easy flying helicopter. Hey, they got themselves a nice little cliff view right there, don't they? Playing with my trim indicator down there. Seemed like it was feeding weird. Trim indicators are weird in this, though. I'm looking right here underneath my artificial horizon. And the thing is, you kick the ball. So the ball's on the left, I kick on the left side, and that should straighten up. But here, we're crabbing pretty hard, and I sure as shit don't have that sort of headwind, because we're doing 148 ground speed, so we have a bit of a tailwind. Maybe like a little left. There, maybe. Seems like the more I'm adding, the more it's floating away. Either way, it's supposed to be for trim. Oh no, you missed all the fun part of flying over the water a whole bunch. But welcome back, glad you made it back. We're currently 37 miles from a fuel stop. And then we'll judge if we're going to go all the way to Lombock or not after we do that, because it is 11:30. Yeah, glad to see green, exactly. Yeah, we'll judge Lombock or not from our fuel stop once we get up here in 37 miles, 140 knot ground speed, so 15 minutes. Oop, little fields. Fuel's looking good. Cut the left side of this peak up here. Don't want to go around, but I don't want to bury myself in the clouds this close to a fuel stop. Especially not knowing what the not knowing what the geography is like on the other side. I am not looking forward to finding the tigers in a couple of days, or attempting to find them. I feel like we'll have a whole stream just up there in that area trying to find them. It's a rare animal. Kind of gives you an idea of where to look, but I'm trying to find any information that I can on where they spawn. Because, like, I know where horse fields are, you know, like, horses always spawn in the same fucking place. So if anybody can find me a video and send it to me on Discord, or my Instagram, which is just my name, the multi-shop Matt, where it shows somebody finding the tiger in Malaysia, would be much appreciated. Of course we get more clouds as soon as we start getting closer to the fuel stop. Whatever's coming out of there is moving pretty quick. I assume they probably have some altitude also. Heading right towards me. I don't see him yet, though. Wonder if we will. The exterior, they see me. Yeah, they gotta be super high. I'm not saying anything. Yep. Oh well. This still feels very Indonesia-ish as far as some of their mountains. But it is weirder seeing them building on the mountain ridges on a lot of this. That hasn't been something we've seen yet in the other countries. That's a new one. I mean, there was some of that in Japan, obviously, but not rural mountain, small farmland type deals. I mean, pretty much everywhere we've been has been very, very different than each other. More green underground over here. More very stripped off land over there. Two more ridges after this one, but the second one will be right before the airport. One ridge down, two more to go. Of course, we got clouds. I would like the final destination to be Lombock, which is like another 200 miles. But I'm going to reassess that here once we land for fuel. I don't know the name of the airport that we're going for fuel. Satartrick or something like that? I don't know. I wanted to get to Lombock today, but you can see that's already, this will make this a halfway point. It's already been how long of a fucking stream? Because this thing has a big fuel tank. Of course, not paying attention to what I'm doing. I fly myself into a fucking cloud. Beautiful. Oh yeah, and Lombock's an airport. This is an airport. So I can easily call it here. You know, it's kind of want to still keep a decent sleep schedule, but I think I may still make this a fuel stop and just pick something that's closer that way and not do a full forget about it. Like we'll get more towards Lombock, but we'll see here in a minute. Once we sit down, I'll be able to look a little bit easier at everything and figure it out. Let's get over to the right of the city. Interesting. Here, and since I'm a real pilot now, we'll work on an actual approach. Okay, there's the runway in sight. Actually, we're doing 90 there, 109, so we'll turn around coming the other way. We'll do a proper approach in. We'll do right-hand traffic. Excuse me. Yeah, approaches are the... I don't want to say the thing that bothered me the most, that I haven't been able to nail down yet. But it's like in your mind you think, cool, helicopters, infinitely adjustable altitude and speed, give or take, more or less. You know, it's not perfect. But getting the approach to stay a straight line, it's more difficult. And when I say straight line, I mean like if you're looking at the descent like a perfect end, whatever you'd like to say. It's a bit harder than you would expect. Maybe just because I'm so used to automatically adjusting here in the sim for it. Just like I'm very used to flying and turning with my feet because of this. Which really I need to set my trim and just turn with my hands. Which is a bit different than normal for me, at least as far as this goes. So I'm lowering the collective a little bit back on the cyclic. Not using my pedals. Not use my pedals, I can go and get the gear down. So we are going slow enough now. Three in the green, good to touch down, parking brake is off. Aim for the 1,000-foot mark. I need a little bit of left pedal to trim out. Now the secret is once it gets to a spot on my windshield, I just keep it at that spot as I'm descending. And while the 1,000-foot marks there are kind of staying in the same spot, which now they're approaching some, so I need to let down collective some. Now they're going up. Okay, so let's come down here to the fuel stand real quick. We can kind of do that as a the repositioning. We don't need to taxi now. We're a helicopter for a reason, am I right? Let's not get too quick with it. There's our fuel farm. Want to be more on this line. I'm assuming it's about there. Can't see it. I'm just gonna. Yeah. Yes, my parking brake is on. Okay, let's see. There's me mouse. Here we go. Yeah, it looks like I really overestimated how much I wanted to fly tonight. Because to get to Lombock, that'd make today a double header, basically. Not wanting to do that. Let's see, Lombock is 250 miles. Definitely not going to happen. Is there anywhere between here and there? Let's see, what's this next island? Get to Waito. How far are you? A 100 miles, so 45 minutes. Do I want to do 45 minutes? Yeah, might as well. That'll put us much more in striking distance of Lombock. And then getting up through here to do this big-ass island. And the tigers are here, and then we're mainland. So yeah, let's do this one. So we'll do the direct to, what's the code on this airport? WADBI, wow. Got a lot of letters there, don't you? Excuse me. Okay, everybody, we are topping off on fuel. As full as we get. Taking the parking brake off. And putting it back on. Taking it off. Cool, there we go. What the? Okay, guys, that was a fuel stop anyway, so we're here, and if you're unaware, I have a rule where we crash or reset. I literally didn't do anything there. I had plenty of space where a tail strike wouldn't have been a thing. So I'm very curious what happened there. We'll set down and retake off from the same spot. That was weird. And that is the thing with some of these less yeah, plenty of room. My tail wasn't anywhere near all the things either. Which that's one thing we like these, I don't want to say rural airports and areas. There's ghost things in the air sometimes. Let's see what the outside looks like real quick. Yeah, exactly. We're restarting at the airport that we're currently at. Yeah. I didn't even pick up the back end that far, so it wouldn't have been a tail strike. But even then, there's a stinger, so it shouldn't be a thing. There we go. See, and it dumped me back low on fuel, so we gotta add more fuel to us. Okay, we have fuel, blah, 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 whatever, whatever, whatever. Which way are we going? We're going to the left. Okay, thank you. Whatever airport. We're skadoodin'. I'm gonna reset my big GPS. Gonna work. There we go. Miserable. Absolute misery. And now we just bury the heads for another 103 nautical miles. We'll throw some speed back in at 140 knots. Our ground speed's already 128. Hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. We lost a lot of progress on that one. Whew. Yeah, so like I said, if, for those of you who are watching who are not regulars, if I crash and it's admittedly my fault, which I will, I'll gladly admit it's my fault, because I'm trying something silly or whatever, we'll restart to whatever the nearest airport that I landed at was. So that one we were at the fuel stop already, so we just started back over. But if I were to try to carve the canyons up here, then we'd have to reset to the our fuel stop. Or if I were to crash on the approach somehow, then we would have restarted all the way back to where we started at the beginning of the stream. Now if it's like a game fault, or let's say my VR stops working and we crash into the hill, where it's something where I'm trying to move around and fix whatever, then obviously it's not my fault, not my piloting skills. As far as resets, we've only had one real reset, and I don't even want to call that a real one. We were flying over the deep desert of Australia, and to use autopilot, and a lot of these helicopters that are equipped with it, you need a cyclic and controls that will kind of self-center themselves. Mine's not self-centering. So when I went to go, or I have to like very carefully let go of my cyclic and like pose it somewhere, so that way it doesn't, the system doesn't pick up on it moving and then just fly us into the ground. Anyways, one of the systems picked up on it moving just a little bit, and I was unable to catch and recover, and it flew us into the ground. And we were close enough to the last airport where I just restarted from that, but we've yet to crash for me piloting stupidly. It was just for me trying to trust a system that wasn't going to work with what my setup was. So, yes, my fault, but not my fault as in like a vortex ring state or settling with power or doing something that's like a cardinal sin of flying, you know. Crazy seeing all the topography, farming, and terraces and stuff out here. It's rendered in visually, but I doubt they actually have the actual terraces geographically mapped. Hey, good reveal on this one. Holding right at that V&E. Very nice. It's 170 knot ground speed. I can hear the engines up there now. They were singing. Wonder if Tom's going to apologize for missing the stream today. Our first non-Australian stream and he's gone. He might make it in. Just look at the Discord. We'll see. Okay, let's get comfortable. Okay, what was that? Wind shear of some sort. I don't remember. Am I doing a water crossing to get to this place? Yeah, I'm jumping these islands. Relatively little fun jumps, just like a 10-mile jump on that one, so not bad. Steve, what's up? Steve from Canada. How you doing, Steve? Glad to see you in here. We're just out here buzzing around Malaysia, heading west. Don't think I've seen you since Australia. East Coast Australia. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, welcome back. Nah, PNG, that was before we hit Australia. Now we're just heading up towards Thailand. Yeah, PNG would have been before you viewed for the first time, because I think you were when we were doing like the big sand island tour. That sounds like what I remember talking to you last. Maybe. But yeah, so we're over here. PNG's over here. So we came down and did a whole bunch of Australia stuff and back up here. Now we're working our way. I hate the way this does. It's so annoying. But now we're here-ish working our way this way up towards Thailand and such. But yeah, if you go back, what's probably like episode 32, 33, somewhere in there was probably PNG. There's not much out there. A lot of just, it's just fucking trees, bud. There's not much out there. At least for the course that we were taking over it. We weren't sightseeing, although like part of this whole thing is sightseeing. The other kind of have to mix it one and one with making good time. Jakarta. back in the Jakartas. But yeah, wherever we were flying over PNG, and that whole bit of islands out there, there was not much to look at. It was just, it was soil and trees. That's about it. A little bit of water here, but it's a lot of little islands, so not too unexciting. This right here feels kind of grease-ish. Lighter soil, trees, water with a whole bunch of islands. Feels a bit there. Of course, we haven't flown in Greece yet. We will. I believe we're going to be hitting Greece. But that's what that kind of feels like to me. VR. We are running a Meta Quest 3. I don't know if I went into my details about what or why I was doing what I'm doing. But I really just built the sim to learn how to hover helicopters, which I can. So that way it would help speed up the process of learning how to hover in real life when I went to go get my pilot's license. Because most people take a long time to figure that out and get a whole bunch of the flying mechanics down. So I figured, cool, if I want to try to be as close to the federally mandated 40-hour minimum as I possibly can, if I can save myself 10 hours, then this computer and VR and everything's kind of paid for itself. And guess what? I did start my flight lessons and I was able to hover immediately, so having VR and all this stuff here really, really helped. Of course, I did learn how to hover before I got the VR. And there's a small learning curve once I got in the VR, but VR has definitely helped on a lot of the feeling of it for approaches and just different maneuvers and stuff. But yeah, I'm in the real thing now. About 10 hours in. Really just started full-time, not full-time school, but flying every day like 2 weeks ago. But my instructor went on vacation this past week, and I won't be able to get back with him until Saturday. But then hopefully then I can start pushing back to 1 to 2 hours a day. I'm scheduling my written exam tomorrow. So then hopefully by the time I'm soloing, plan is to be a written exam done. And I'll just keep hounding the books and everything as much as I can. And hopefully I'll be able to get the second 20 hours, because I think it's soloing at 20 hours. Hopefully as soon as I start soloing, I can get that done before the DPE is scheduled to come and do all the tests in like a couple of days or whatever, like he does for the school. And fingers crossed, hopefully it becomes private becomes a thing shortly. I may not, although I'm not going to sell myself short. Like, I'm a pretty smart guy. I may not be the smartest or easiest learning, easiest taught, easiest picking up on everything, but I can outwork anybody. I will not stop. I literally woke up this morning and just went straight into practice test. Books, lessons, all that stuff. I did that for like 5 hours before I even ate. Woke up, peed, brushed my teeth, started studying. Then I did some video editing for a friend, for some other stuff, and then went back to some more practice tests. And yeah, nobody will outwork me. I will spend my entire waking hour doing exactly this. So I don't want to say I feel confident for the written exam. I feel competent. But I know if I get confident, it could be, I don't want to say unwarranted, but I don't want to be cocky going into it either, you know? Am I going commercial heli for work? The goal is yes, eventually, but the jump from private to commercial is a lot of hours, which in turn is a lot of money, which I don't have. So basically I'm shooting for private currently, and then on the weekends or weekdays, whenever I have time and money, then I'll rent a helicopter, do an hour here, an hour there, you know, whatever. Friend wants to go for a ride, then I pro rata the share with them, where it's a $300 rental plus fuel or something, and they give me $150 plus half the fuel. You know, whatever's legally I'm allowed to ask for, I'll say, hey friends, you know, if y'all want to ride, let me know. I'll be glad to take you up on a ride. Just split the cost even with me. So the goal is commercial, but of course it's building up hours. I do plan on pursuing instrument shortly after getting my private, once I get more film work and stuff picked up. But the goal is to get out of the film industry. You know, it would be cool to fly helicopters for movies. I could definitely see it becoming a thing one day, just because I'm already in the film industry and I know people. But with AI and CGI getting as advanced as it is a bit of a dying art to some extent. But I'd rather not work in film if possible. So if I could get into agricultural work or something to get started where it's not a huge hour requirement, tours. I want to get licensed to be a instructor, but also instructors are paid a criminally low amount of money, so it's going to be hard to go from, oh yeah, like an instructor, it's good to get hours, you know, it's, even though I'd only be making 15, 20 bucks an hour, you know, not much. I am getting hours in the helicopter, which is in turn worth a few $100 an hour. So it's a decent trade, you know, it's it's like being a gold miner, you know, it's cool, I'm working as a gold miner, I'm only getting paid $15 an hour to be a gold miner, but I get to keep a gram of gold a day, you know, like it ends up paying hour-wise on the backside. Marry rich, yeah. I just want to marry competent to begin with, you know, if they have money, that's a plus. I want to marry somebody who's not a fucking idiot. Yeah, like I'm sure eventually one day I'll be flying EMS medical helicopters, because that's a more solid way to be a helicopter pilot and have and raise a family. Utility pilots, you can kind of go around and be a lot of places. Agricultural pilots, you can kind of be in one spot, but I want to do something a bit more technical than that, you know. Touring pilots, don't really want to be a bus driver, want to be more challenged. Yeah, instructor's definitely a way to get hours. It's just going to be hard to go from a job where I have the potential to make, I don't want to say significant money, but I make pretty good when I'm working, to go to instructor to where I'm not. You know, like at the end of the day, bills still have to be paid, and it's nice that it's technically giving me, you know, $600 of flight time a day if I do 3 days a week, or 3 hours a day, you know, like, the pay's good if you look at value as far as just, like, hours being logged in the logbook. But sanity-wise and actually being able to pay bills, not really. Firefighting, I kind of class that under utility. But yeah, that's an option too. Downside is I'd have to go out west, most likely, for that. So I'd have to go to California, Utah, Montana, something, which Montana, Idaho, those areas, beautiful. And usually when you go out there, you're on some sort of hitch to where you're living on the fire base or whatever for a week or two, then you're off for a week or two and on for a week, whatever. Still kind of a weird utility schedule sort of thing. Like I said, it's nice. Would be good work because you're actually doing some cool stuff there and getting to do some challenging flying. Or in Canada. Canada, they're weird with bringing pilots in from other countries. I've done some looking into that just because there's beautiful areas up there, a lot of ground to do bush piloting in. I actually just shared a video on my personal Instagram today of a guy who's from Australia that's up in Canada doing, I think he's flying a 407, doing wildland firefighting, like a long line Bambi bucket style. Yeah, it looks fun. A necessary job for sure also. Like if I could pick something though, like where it's long term, I think EMS will be the most sane thing. Or opening up my own company where we do something. But I think like a utility or power line pilot, like either picking the lineman up. Oh yeah, wildfire's just straight fucking everywhere, dude. Yeah, like picking people up with long lines and shit, maybe even flying like Blackhawks and installing power poles in remote areas and stuff using the helicopter as a lift, you know. External load sort of things for power line, and then having the dude sitting on the platform on the side and hovering next to the lines while doing work or installing new insulators and separators and stuff. Like that would be cool. Like that's the high, I don't want to say I just want to do high risk flying, but that's the sort of high risk precision, really takes skill flying that I'd like to get into. Oh, also I was going to say as far as instructing's on my list of things I want to do, not because I want to be an instructor, and not because I'm looking for that sort of money or that job or that lifestyle, but I think the amount of growth that you get being an instructor and how much better of a pilot you become being instructor is irreplaceable. Yeah, danger pay, that's exactly it. I mean, screw the money, you know, like at the end of the day, like a 2,000-hour helicopter pilot, whether you're flying utility or EMS, you know, you're making anywhere from $70,000 to $120,000 a year. And it just depends on company, location, etc. But really, at the end of the day, you know, a 2,000-hour tour pilot flying Maverick in the Grand Canyon is going to be making $85,000, $90,000. And then a 2,000-hour pilot that's doing utility work is going to be making the same amount of money. So it's kind of like what you want to do. Do you want to sit in your chair all day and do the easy thing, the bread runs of point A to point B and explaining how something was formed, or do you want to do something challenging? And the reason I picked wanting to do helicopters was because I wanted something challenging, you know? I want to be in charge of a complicated machine that I'm also partially responsible for keeping up with. Which, speaking of, I do want to get my A&P with IA eventually. An extremely challenging aspect of flying the extremely challenging machine. I want to sit in the machine for a full day and just get out and just be exhausted. Just mentally drained from having to be, I don't want to use the Zoomer term, but like be locked in for 5-10 hours a day, really, really focusing on something. Like external load, being really, really precise, bringing stuff up and in. And that's attractive to me. That's what I want to do. Yeah, exactly. I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm not doing it because it's like, yeah, sure, it's neat to say like, oh, look at me, I'm a helicopter pilot. Yeah, it's cool. But also, I'm retarded and I think helicopters are just the coolest thing in the world. So, is it true or is it autism? I don't know. Yeah, I don't care to tell people I'm a pilot. I'm not chasing it for the pilot clout. Even though I definitely will tell people about it just because I think they're fucking cool. I'm not going to stray away from the fact that I'm doing something that I enjoy doing. Yeah, I want a challenging aspect, like eventually chief pilot, chief operating or something, would be neat, of a cool company that does cool things. Director of training for a company that does like utility like PG&E or something like that. That'd be super cool. Because at that point, it's also all the knowledge that I accrue over the years of doing it. Things I learned, like I want to share that with the people coming up because there's going to be more pilots and then drones are going to be more of a thing. Developing programs on how to bring that and integrate that in because of course, helicopters are going to be irreplaceable for a long time. It's going to be a while until powered lift is a completely viable 100% replacement for your standard rotorcraft. But until then, we got to do this and we got to start building plans so that way whenever powered lift stuff does become a thing, that's something we can look into and already have programs and stuff developed for it and integrate it flawlessly, seamlessly. GPS, thank you for being in here as always. We're only 10 minutes or so from landing, so either way, always appreciated. One of our heli ambulance pilots went from ticket sales and luggage to co-pilot, and in 3 years became head pilot. Hell yeah. Which, I'm not in the industry, so I don't know what it takes to become... No, yeah, we're pretty damn close. I mean, we're doing 158 knots over the ground, and this new airport that we've picked here is just right there. So yeah, it's I don't know what it takes to get to that point, but I don't know if you listen to the helicopter podcast with Halsey Scheider, who's the owner of Celicopter. He did an episode with I forget the name, but it was a guy who was just a pilot, and he got bumped into being the CEO of like Reach, I think. After X amount of years of working for him, and he became a chief pilot or whatever, and chief of training, and now he's CEO. I want to say it was Apollo or Reach or something like that. Also, I think Air Zermatt, the red Airbuses over in like Switzerland, I think, Switzerland or Italy, Germany area, with the white star graphics and everything on them. I believe it's currently CEO'd by somebody who was a pilot for them at one point. So the chain's there. You know, it's it's a very vertically capable career path to choose. And when you're passionate about it, you know, it's something that I think other people will notice. I'm taking my training extremely seriously. I'm video and audio recording every session that we're doing, putting them on a hard drive. I'm rewatching them as I'm editing it because I have to sync my audio and stuff because I'm using an external recorder so we can hear what the instructor's saying. I'm reflying all of my classes here in the sim, applying what I've learned, and even though it's not a one-to-one representation, it's still good to help get that to sink in. I'm studying every day. I plan on keep on studying every day. Yeah, it's just but like eventually I'll make like a big final episode of my training and whatever else. I'm curious if the DPE will let me record the check ride. I think that'd be cool. I'll ask. But that's his call at the end of the day. I don't want to step on anything. Stream just stopped for 10 seconds. Oh no. GPS, what's the weather look like? You know where I'm at. How does it look? We're almost there. Hopefully we land before weather comes if the weather's on the way. But yeah, you know, it's a very vertically integrated thing, and I hope to bring some real helicopter content to YouTube soon as well. What is this? Is that a tower? Like a bad rendering of something? What is that? Yeah, it's a tower. That would have been fun. Okay, who knows? Maybe it's a Starlink thing. I am streaming this to the sky and then back down to you guys, so... Yeah, it's just a fun career path that I want to be chasing, and can't wait to share more of it. And I don't want to say I'm going to be directly ripping off the Matty LP or STL River helicopters where he takes a little R-22 and flies into the barbecue restaurant or lands on wherever. But it's like, yeah, I'm going to go do things with helicopters that's more than just flying the pattern, you know. I want to go enjoy flight, and I picked helicopters because they're cool, and also because, you know, you can kind of take them anywhere as long as you can get the permission to land and you can get in and out, then you can do it. So I plan on doing stuff like that, you know, and I want to share that with people. And I didn't see any clouds. Oh wow. Unusual, woman not talking ever. Yeah, she's quiet. At least this isn't Elaine. This one, she's kind of like a badass, like Mexican fighting chick. She's like a Maria, I think's what I've been calling her. Or no, Maria's the one in the hype group ones. This one, Letty, like Fast and the Furious is what we're gonna call her. Hey, there's another airplane. First other aircraft we've seen today. So what's the name of this place? Let's make a call. Muhammad Salah. Is that where we're fucking going? Wahala Subalaba Airport. This is helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. We are 4.5 miles to the east, inbound for the ramp, direct at our own risk. Whatever airport. Tom, welcome. Yeah, just in time for landing. We're not going to go all the way to Lombock. We're stopping at this place because it's 12:34, so you literally got here just in time. But how'd your stuff go today? They are descending, so we'll keep an eye out for them. We'll come in here. I have no idea what direction the wind's going right now. Let's see. Airspeed 125, ground speed 135. So we're kind of tailwinded right now. So we'll do a left traffic. %. Hell yeah, that's what I want to hear. Start bringing the collective down. We'll do another proper approach in. Except we'll do a spot approach. We won't do a runway approach. We'll do a spot approach. This is the Bell 222 Bravo. Like Airwolf. Okay, let's see. Whatever. Airport. Helicopter 420 Foxtrot Whiskey. Turning base to final for the ramp. Going to get our gear down. Let's pick a spot on the ramp where we're going. Kind of think of this intersection here closest to us. .500 approach, let's go. Guess I had a good guess on the wind there. Bummer, it looks like there's 2 helipads over there. We're hitting this intersection though. Still giving this a go. Good steeper coming in, keeping 35 knots. Decision height, still go. Slowly adding the collective back in to arrest the descent. We're over the spot now. 25-foot high hover. Cool, let's just reposition down here to the helipad so we at least know where we're starting tomorrow. And my voice is toasted right now, if you guys cannot tell. The coughing, and then I was cheering and doing a whole bunch of stuff this weekend. So that did not help it whatsoever. And we'll turn around facing the runway. Feel that wind coming from the left. Okay, where are we? There's our H. Parking brake on. Let's see. Shut this alarm up. Start rolling throttles down. Because honestly, the lower angle approaches are easier. Got to practice my high angle approaches. My steeps and normals. It is a boring approach. Why did those turn back on? Why is my no smoking sign on? I hope y'all were smoking the whole time. And I hope you didn't have your seatbelts on. Let's get rid of that. You're supposed to turn off. Oh. Well, you're going to turn off now. I was trying to play it nice. But you're turning off. Yes, the tax, I will be tax deducting all of this. All of the receipts are saved and everything's been marked off and appropriately accounted for. Cool. That's good, that's good, that's good. That's off. Parking brake is set. Good to go, good to go, good to go. Cool. Shift C. Thank you everybody for being here. I would do some shenanigans tonight, but it's getting close to 1 o'clock and my voice is already toasted. But appreciate everybody for coming in and hanging out. Steve, thank you for coming in. GPS as always. Tom, glad to actually see you here. Good job on today. And thanks for showing up for a non-Australian episode. But, yeah. Good day today. Got a little bit of progress in. And that's what we got to do. Since we're here now, let's just... Since departure tomorrow, I'd like to make it somewhere midway on this island. Let's see, that's 360 miles. That's not bad. Yeah, so somewhere midway up this island. What is this string of shit? Oh, like a Mountain Ranger river or something. Yeah, so we'll make it somewhere in this area for the next one. Then we gotta do some tigers for the next one, and so on and so on. So yeah. Thank you everybody for being here. I'm going to get out, rest my voice some,